This is about to blow your mind. Harvard researchers have found that people like receiving negative feedback. The research revealed that it's the number one thing that they want. So what's holding you back from giving more negative feedback? Is it the fear of hurting their feelings? The worry that they'll lash out in anger? Or maybe you just aren't sure how to give it effectively. Well, in this video, I will show you 3 simple steps to become an expert at giving negative feedback. And by the end of this video, you'll have the confidence and skills to deliver negative feedback that not only helps people grow, but also strengthens your relationships and establishes you as a true leader. Do you know the number one reason why leaders don't give negative feedback? Now, I've seen this play out countless times in my work as a leadership coach over the last 12 years. One of my clients is a director at a mid-sized company, and he was struggling to get his team to perform at a high level. When we dug deeper, it became clear that he was avoiding giving his team negative feedback. By learning and implementing this 3-step system that I'm about to share with you, he was able to turn things around and help his team excel. What held the director back is the number one reason why leaders don't give enough negative feedback. He didn't want to hurt someone else's feelings. Now, this fear prevented him from giving his team the thing they wanted most. And without it, they struggled to learn and grow. But there's also another reason why leaders like my client don't give enough negative feedback. Most don't have a reliable and repeatable system for giving it. And if you don't have a reliable and repeatable system for giving negative feedback, you won't give it. So let's get into the 3 steps so you can give negative feedback confidently. If you don't get this first step right, it can lead to a toxic work environment, high turnover rates, and irreversible damage to your reputation as a leader. Have you ever heard of Simon Sinek? He's one of the biggest names in the leadership world, and even he got this first step wrong. His YouTube channel has over 2 million subscribers, and the video he posted about giving critical feedback has several 100,000 views. Here's what he said in his video. Quote, "The way you talked to your teammates the other day is really harsh. You've really been beating up on people. Can you spot the problem with this feedback?" What Simon shared here is too vague, and it needs to be more specific. There's nothing actionable that someone on the receiving end of this feedback can do. And when you use vague words like these, your feedback looks more like an accusation and it won't be heard by the other person. So generalities like "you always," or "you never," or "you've really been beating up on people" do not belong in your vocabulary. Instead, all you need to do is say, "Here's what I observed," and then share objective, irrefutable facts. When you focus on objective, irrefutable facts, you remove the emotion from the feedback. And remember that the fear of hurting someone else's feelings is the number one reason why leaders don't give enough negative feedback. So in this first step alone, we've now removed that fear and overcome that challenge. The facts you share are not good or bad. They're just facts. Here's an example. Quote, "In the team meeting on Tuesday, you said, 'I don't like the direction this team is going.'" Now, the individual either said that or they didn't. It's an objective, irrefutable fact. It's important to note here that if you can't identify an objective, irrefutable fact to use in step number 1, you need to reconsider whether giving negative feedback is even going to be possible. Because remember that without facts, your negative feedback will come across more like an accusation. So that's all you need to do for step number 1 is focus on objective, irrefutable facts. When you follow step 1 with step 2, you will shape your team's perception of your leadership abilities and greatly influence whether they see you as a leader worth following. Let me ask you a question. How big of an impact did the words you said today have on other people? Now, if you're like most people, this is difficult to answer because you're usually focused on your words and not the impact of your words on others. And this is why step 2 is critical. And here's what you need to say. The impact that had is, and then you share the impact of the objective, irrefutable facts that you shared in step number 1. So just like in step 1, the more specific you are here, the better your negative feedback delivery will be. So putting this together with our example, we now have, quote, "In the team meeting on Tuesday, you said, 'I don't like the direction this team is going.' The impact that had is it undermined what we are doing together as a team." And that's all you need to do for step number 2. If you don't ask this one simple and powerful question for step number 3, you could damage your reputation as a leader and nobody will want to be on the receiving end of your feedback ever again. Most people think that since they're giving negative feedback, they need to tell the other person what to do. Now, this is actually the worst thing you could do at this point in the process. Instead, all you need to do is ask one simple and very powerful question. Now, this powerful question allows the other person to be invited into the conversation to share their side of the story. Now, this question will shift the focus and attention from you to the other person. And you must do this because giving negative feedback isn't about you. It's actually about the other person. And there are always two sides to every story. You need to know what that side of the story is before you can take any other action. So here's the simple and powerful question. Help me understand what's going on. Now let's look at it in our complete example. Quote, in the team meeting on Tuesday, you said, I don't like the direction this team is going. The impact that had is it undermined what we're doing together as a team. Help me understand what's going on. So let's recap the 3 steps. Step 1 is, here's what I observed. You can use those exact words or you can use an abbreviation, but you need to share objective, irrefutable facts. Step 2 is when you share the impact that had is, and then you share the impact of the facts that you shared from step 1. And step 3 is simply ask one simple and very powerful question. Help me understand what's going on. Just listen to what they have to say because you're inviting them into the conversation. The true secret to giving negative feedback confidently is having a reliable and repeatable system featuring the 3 steps I just covered. But what's the impact of using this 3-step system for giving negative feedback? Well, imagine the ripple effect of consistently giving negative feedback in a caring and thoughtful way to each team member. Picture their skills sharpening, their motivation growing, their ownership increasing with each piece of negative feedback. Visualize your team transforming, morale lifting, engagement rising, and performance excelling. And imagine this catching the attention of other leaders who pull you aside to ask in an amazed tone, what did you do to create this remarkable transformation? So now that you've learned this simple and powerful 3-step system for giving negative feedback, I challenge you to write out one piece of negative feedback that you'd like to give someone. All you need to do is fill in the blanks for step 1 and step 2 because step 3 is already done for you. And share your experience and the impact this process had on you in the comments below. I can't wait to hear what you say.